Hey everybody, this is Corky Alexander, Dr. Corky Alexander. My wife Kim and I moved here to Hamilton, Alabama after I got out of intensive care in 2020. Today there was something that happened here that made me think that I might need to do a video to kind of commemorate it. This is my buddy. He don't say much. He likes to walk close to me. But I'm here in Hamilton, Alabama, and I wanted to share a couple of things with you. Because we moved here, there was a shed out back. We didn't think we wanted to rent it out, so it's not got no power. And there was a lot of materials left. And this kind of was the impetus for me starting the model railroad. And then I've been working on the model railroad HO scale since 2021, January, I think. But so there's a lot of building materials left over. I hauled some of it off, but I kind of like these old worn down things. I've got a mower that won't run, but all this building material, well, some of you may know that before I went to pastoring and during the time I was a pastor, over like a 26-year period I was pastoring, and probably a minister for 40 years, traveling, playing in gospel bands and things. You might know that I went to art school for a short time after I became a Christian. And it resulted in, well, I'd been drawing cartoons a lot since I was a boy. And I had owned an airbrush in the 80s to kind of try my hand at airbrush painting. And, you know, I didn't go very far with it because when you're in the ministry, you're busy all the time, visiting people, going to meetings and things. And so I never really picked my art up. I actually believed at one point that my art gift was shattered when my mother died in 1965. But it's a thing. If you're a young person growing up in the 60s and your mother dies, and maybe you're messing with art or going to art school, that you end up joining a rock and roll band, and that was me, is me. And so the art led to the rock and roll, and then when I became a Christian, more gospel music. So we moved here after I got out of intensive care. I fell in Tennessee and I injured my brain. I had a brain bleed. And so I'm back now, kind of slow, retired, but my wife and daughters are all really still involved in public ministry, teaching, worship leading. And so came here to this place, Hamilton, Alabama, out here on Ranch Road, and this shed. So I started a train layout in 2020, and it resulted in this shed having this big Christmas train layout, Lionel, and I have since bought a set of drums for my grandsons to play on. And then when I started the HO scale layout, which many of you have seen in the house, in what we call the train room. Here's some of my old cartoons and sketches from years gone by. Just little drawings I did. There's the tabernacle. So anyway, when I first got here, there were these railroad ties piled up in the back, as you saw already. And there was one railroad spike. Now, this railroad spike, to me, was significant. And I lost it for a couple of years, but today I found it again. And I think that this railroad spike is kind of a sign to me about this stuff that I'm doing in the shed and in the house about model railroading. And then I got me another airbrush recently because of the train layout. And I've got it. They already had a nice workbench in here. And I think that somebody was wanting to do folk art because they've been saving these saws. And I've already got an idea to do one dedicated to Albert King, the guitar player, on crosscut saw. I'm gonna paint one of those. So I've been getting back involved in art again, and I have this old rocking chair and it's all apart. I got it away from Buddy before he chewed it up. And I'm probably gonna paint it with all decorative paint colors and everything like that. So this is kind of my world. I need to come out here in the early mornings while it's still cool because it gets hot during the day. There's no power to the shed. But nowadays, there's so many cordless things that you can use them, you know. And so I'm just kind of documenting this kind of Christmas folk art, kind of model railroad time that I'm having. I got these chairs, which I'm really proud of. I got them real cheap at a flea market place. And I got a director's chair there that a movie director uses. And of course, I still think a lot about Indians, so I got my Indian shirt way up high. I've been posting some of my favorite illustrators like Frederick Remington and Rembrandt and Rick Griffin. And so I'm just doing this. I don't know where all this is gonna go. I don't know what it's gonna mean, but you know, when you retire from working for these corporations, and denominational churches are corporations too. It's just like working for a business. People kick you all over the place to try to make money and things, and people attack you to try to get power and things. And I'm just really not into that anymore. I got a good church I go to here, Karen Wheaton in the Ramp. And my wife's a teacher in the school, and my daughter Emma and son-in-law and grandsons, the ones here in Alabama, are all real involved. And I'm kind of retired, and I'm not trying to prove anything. I don't want to go to any meetings. And I like my life here. And I don't know where else it's going to go, but I've had a good time, you know, putting these Christmas villages out for this big train, and inside working on a train layout. Doing some barbecue and stuff at my smoker, which I've got a pretty good smoker out by the back there. But I wanted to kind of commemorate. There's my smoker up there by the door. And that table beside it was a part of this whole thing. I found an old rotten table out here, and I glued it together and cleaned it off. And so anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Look at my big clock at Grand Central Station Kim gave me for Christmas. And so thank you all for watching my videos. I know they're various, and but just hang in there. I might have some folk art to sell or give away as gifts. So I don't know. See what I'm gonna do. All right, y'all have a blessed day. It's Corky signing out. 10-4.